Hi, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about my experiences this morning. I went to Hillsong Boston for the first time, and the experience was a really good one. So, I can't remember if I wrote about this in my blog before, but I tried to go to Hillsong Boston a few weeks ago and I couldn't find parking. And before I went, I really psyched myself out because I started reading all these articles online about how like they don't accept gay people and like their stance on homosexuality, which I kind of already knew, and I don't know why I looked up those articles and thought that I would find something different. So going into it, I felt very nervous and I was apprehensive that people were going to judge me and I wasn't going to connect with anyone and it was going to be really hard to be in that space. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in a space like that. But this week, I made it a priority. I got up 10 minutes before I needed to leave my house, but I still made it. Walking in, it's in like this gorgeous concert hall in Boston, on Tremont Street, and everything was just so nice. And I was walking in kind of as the service was starting, so I didn't really get to talk to that many people, but I sat down on the balcony and I was right in the first row. And the service started and I felt a little anxious and a little unsure at first, but they sang 4 songs to start and they're all Hillsong songs, so like I listened to them on Spotify all the time, so I knew the words, which was really nice. By like the second song, I was really I was feeling it. Like it was a good feeling. And I really felt Jesus was there. Then the head pastor, I guess he's the head pastor. I don't really know that much about Hillsong Boston. Maybe I shouldn't make assumptions like that. But Pastor Josh spoke, which is so funny because my pastor from my old church in Brooklyn was Pastor Josh too. I just realized that. But he started speaking and he started his message off a little bit shaky. He was comparing outward appearances to inward, who you are on the inside, which is fine. It was a good message, but he started off saying about how like his wife bought him a facial and he didn't want to go because it's not manly and all this stuff. And there was a lot of toxic masculinity in his kind of like anecdotes in the beginning, which I didn't like. I am a huge believer that everyone should have clear skin. Everyone deserves to pamper themselves. It doesn't matter if you're a cis man or a trans man or a straight woman or whatever, non-binary, like everyone should get facials. Everyone needs a pedicure because you need to keep your feet nice, and you should be getting regular manicures as well. Just like keeping, like you can treat yourself and it doesn't matter who you are or how like that's not manly enough, which kind of annoyed me that he broadcast that to the whole church, that he like didn't want to go because it wasn't manly. But anyways, he continued speaking and I kind of I had to let that go to really listen to the message. A pastor at my old church said something once that really offended me. It was something about being homosexual, and he said that it was just like a very much like a lifestyle that they could change, and I was very offended by that, and it took me a long time to forgive. And he said something that really touched me. My pastor in Brooklyn, he said, don't let your animosity towards the speaker let you miss out on hearing the message, which I think was really important because it's good to remember that we are all human. Like even our pastors, even our church leaders, like they're still human. Like they may be called by God to speak, but their words aren't always truth and they can be offensive and really hard to listen to. But I think that overall, like the message that the Bible gives is really important. So I drew on that during this message. So then the whole message was really about how a lot of the times, like the Pharisees, we sharpen our outer image, but we don't work on the inner one. And so he talked a lot about how like we fear of like the judgment of other people, of like how our appearances or like how we're going to be perceived. But what we should be worrying about is how we're sharpening and strengthening our inner selves to do the work of Jesus, because that's where your strength and your courage is gonna come from. And I just thought that was like so powerful and important, because it's honestly what I was afraid of going into this, that like people would judge me. Like, I had my shaved head, I wore my septum ring, like I just stepped into that church being so authentically myself, and I was so afraid, and I didn't need to be afraid at all. So when I sat next to a woman who was so cool, and we talked for a long time because she had also just moved here from Brooklyn, which was awesome. And it was so nice to just like talk to someone that knew kind of where I was coming from, and like I could tell her about my old neighborhoods, and like she told me about hers, and like we lived in the same area, and like we went to the same church that I went to when I was in college, called the Brooklyn Tabernacle. And so like we talked about that when she was telling me about like her favorite Vietnamese places in Williamsburg to go to, and it was just so nice. It was like re-meeting an old friend but I'd never met her before. And then I think that's when I started to realize like I judged this place before I gave it a chance, and I think I took the name Hillsong and like took all of the stereotypes and all of the backlash that I was reading online, and I put it in front of what I was walking into, which is not a good attitude to have going into something like that. But I was pleasantly surprised. Now, I don't know if this is going to be my home church where I want to get connected and join teams and things like that. And I really didn't talk to that many people, but just the feeling was so good to be there and to hear that message. And it was really words that I needed to hear. Like I needed that healing and that grace to kind of regain my confidence, and confidence in myself. I think that I really feel that I always want to be true to who I am and who God created me to be. And I don't need to be afraid of other people and what they're going to say, because I know what my Creator says about me, which I think is really important to remember. So if you are in the area and you're looking for a new church, I would recommend Hillsong Boston. For starters, it was a super fun atmosphere. I went to Hillsong in New York for maybe 6 months, and it reminded me a lot of home, and where I really got connected at C3 and found a family. And I think that might be possible here. I'm trying so hard to let go of my insecurities and just really let myself be who I am, because I think that's where my light is going to shine through, and I'm going to connect with people on a deeper level. So thanks for watching. I'm excited to give you a following update, and more updates in the future. Let me know in the comments if you do check it out, or if you've been before. I'd love to hear your take on it. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram, and you can subscribe to my blog, all linked below. Thanks for watching.